What if everything you've been told about female desire is a lie? In the next few minutes, you'll discover a truth so deep, so disturbing, that modern psychology tried to erase it. This isn't just some surface-level theory. It's a hidden reality, one that even Freud was afraid to publish. A truth locked away in private letters, banned by his followers, and feared by those who understood its power. By the end of this series, your view of desire, relationships, and the way women feel attraction will change completely. You'll understand why men have been lied to for generations, and why knowing this truth gives you a kind of power that most people are too scared to face. Let's begin with a story Freud never wanted the world to know. It was 1895, a rich Viennese woman named Anna von Lieben came to Freud. She was dealing with strange emotional breakdowns. She couldn't control her emotions. She felt stuck in a marriage she hated. Back then, Freud was just a young doctor studying the mind. He began to explore Anna's subconscious thoughts. What he found shocked him deeply. Anna didn't just have normal desires. Her fantasies were dark. She dreamed about domination, humiliation, even violence. And here's the shocking part. Her desires were not unusual. They were common. In a private letter, Freud wrote, "The civilized woman is just a mask. Behind it lies a storm of wild desires, hunger that cannot be spoken about." This wasn't just a guess. It was based on real clinical experience. And it gets darker. Let's talk about Dora, one of Freud's most famous and controversial patients. Dora was just 18 years old when her father brought her to Freud. She had accused a family friend of trying to seduce her. But Freud's notes reveal something strange. Dora wasn't simply disgusted by the man's actions. In some way, she was aroused. Her emotional problems weren't just from trauma. They came from frustration. Freud believed she didn't hate the man because he tried something, but because he stopped chasing her after she said no. Freud called this the eroticization of refusal. It means this: when desire is denied, it grows stronger. When someone pulls away, the other person becomes more attracted. In other words, rejection can spark obsession. Now, think about today's dating world. Men are constantly told, no means no. Don't chase, it's harassment. Be respectful, be gentle, be nice. But Freud's research, and centuries of human history, suggest something different. Let's go back to Cleopatra. She used emotional resistance to keep Caesar hooked. In the Middle Ages, knights wrote love poems to noble women they could never have. These women were out of reach, and that made them even more desirable. Desire grows in tension. The more uncertain the outcome, the more intense the desire. But modern culture wants everything to be clear, logical, and safe. We're told attraction should be respectful, mutual, and easy. That sounds nice, but the truth is more complex. Desire isn't logical, it's primal. The female mind doesn't respond to comfort the way we expect. It responds to conquest, challenge, and unpredictability. But now comes the most controversial part, Freud's most explosive theory. This idea made people burn his books and call him dangerous. He said that women, deep down, don't just want equality. They want power, and not the kind of power we talk about in politics or business. Freud called it penis envy, but most people misunderstood what he meant. He wasn't talking about biology. He was talking about agency, about action, control, and power. Freud said society teaches women to receive pleasure, not take it. Their deepest desires are shaped by masculine energy, by the excitement of being chased, dominated, and overwhelmed. That's why even powerful, independent women still fantasize about submission. It's why romance novels where rich, dominant men take control are so popular among female readers. And it's why, as women gained more independence in real life, the world also saw a huge rise in BDSM culture. Still not convinced? Let's jump forward to the year 1953. A scientist named Alfred Kinsey, known as the father of modern sex research, ran tests to see what truly arouses women. The results? Women were more physically aroused by stories of forced seduction than by happy, romantic, fully consensual stories. Their bodies reacted strongly, even when their minds rejected the idea. Kinsey chose to hide this data. Why? Because it didn't match what feminism was teaching, because the truth was too dangerous, too uncomfortable, and yet it was real. So what does this mean for you? It means that all the advice you've been given, be a nice guy, be respectful, treat her like a queen, might be leading you straight into failure. Because the truth is, women are not attracted to men who are always available. They don't crave what's easy. They're drawn to what's uncertain, challenging, and a little dangerous. Ever wondered why the perfect guys end up alone? Here's the shocking reason. It's not about being nice. Edward was the ultimate good man. He was intelligent, polite, financially secure, and did everything society expected. Yet his wife hated him. She mocked him, flirted with other men, and eventually left him for a rough factory worker with a criminal record. Freud diagnosed him with moral castration. He'd been trained to suppress his aggression, dominance, and raw masculinity, so he became invisible to women. Fast forward to today. Men under 30 are 3 times more likely to be celibate than their fathers were at the same age. Dating apps treat courtship like a meat grinder. The top 10% of men get 90% of the attention. And who wins? Not the rule followers. It's the men who understand Freud's dark truth. Female desire thrives on intensity, not fairness. Consider a 2018 Tinder study by University of Oslo researchers. Women rated 85% of men as below average in attractiveness, not just unappealing, but unworthy of a second look. And, interestingly, women preferred sharing a truly high-status man over settling with a nice, loyal one. Why? Because boredom kills desire. Freud called this the boredom principle. Humans crave unpredictability, excitement, variance. But it gets even more intense. In the 1950s, psychologist John Money conducted arousal experiments. Women said they were attracted to stable, kind men, but EEG and heart rate data revealed the opposite. When shown images of dominant or dangerous men, their pupils dilated, heart rate jumped, and other biological signals betrayed their words. Money buried this data. It would have shattered the idea of romantic egalitarianism. Now look at our culture. Dark romance novels featuring mafia bosses and anti-heroes are everywhere. On OnlyFans, women pay for dominant, emotionally distant men, not the respectful types. Even in politics, women often support authoritarian leaders over gentle reformers. Freud called this the Thanatos effect, an unconscious pull toward destruction, risk, and forbidden energy. Men who ignore this reality, they scroll through endless profiles and find crushing silence. But here's the catch, it's not women's fault. Freud's most misunderstood truth was that both men and women are led by primal biological impulses. The difference is society's hypocrisy. If a man admits he wants a submissive woman, he's shamed. If a woman secretly craves dominance, she's quietly praised, as long as she lies publicly. History backs this. In the 1971 Stanford prison experiment, female researchers, despite condemning guards' brutality, felt a strong attraction to them. In Nazi Germany, women professed hatred for fascism, but were drawn to SS officers. Freud understood, the erotic mind has no conscience. So what's the solution? Become a monster? No. The answer is game. Not manipulation, but true understanding. Successful men today don't fight female nature. They master it. They build tension, mystery, unpredictability. But that's just the surface. Next, we dive into the psychological warfare of modern dating and the lies women think they believe. A war is underway, not with bullets but with words, laws, and changing social rules. The battlefield, dating. The casualties, millions of men who no longer know the rules, or worse, have been fed false ones about what women genuinely want. And this isn't random cultural shift. It's a deliberate dismantling of traditional sexual hierarchies, a collapse Freud predicted would cause mass male disillusionment. And guess what? It's happening. Why do women chase the men who don't care? Why do they leave the ones who love them? The answer isn't what you think. It's buried deep in Freud's forbidden psychology. Wilhelm Reich, once a close student of Freud, secretly interviewed working-class women in Berlin. His goal? To find out what they really wanted in a man. What he discovered was so shocking that the Nazis burned his research. Why? Because it exposed a truth society wasn't ready for. Women didn't desire equality. They desired polarity. They were drawn to men who were stronger than them, more decisive, more in control. One woman said it plainly, I don't want to be his friend, I want to be his exception. Jump to the modern day, and men have been brainwashed. They're told masculinity is toxic, that dominance is abuse, that the way to win a woman's heart is to give her everything, never disagree, and always say yes. But the science tells a different story. A 2020 study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology showed that women enjoyed intimacy more with men who were assertive, even slightly aggressive. Not because they liked pain, because they wanted passion. And passion requires friction. As Freud put it, desire is born from the tension between surrender and conquest. But here's the disturbing part. The same culture that condemns dominance in men rewards it. Look at Hollywood. The bad boy gets the girl every time. He breaks rules, ignores boundaries, and women chase him. Look at music. Female artists sing about men who treat them poorly. And yet, they can't walk away. Look at divorce courts. The soft, supportive man gets financially destroyed. The cold, aloof ex, he walks away clean. This isn't hypocrisy, this is human nature. Freud saw it coming over 100 years ago when he warned, civilization will ask men to neuter themselves, and then wonder why women lose interest. Consider Michael. Michael was 32. A kind, respectful engineer. He cooked for his girlfriend, remembered her birthday, supported her career, and she left him. Why? She said, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. His crime? He was too safe, too predictable, too available. This isn't rare, it's everywhere. Freud called it the hedonic treadmill, the idea that humans get used to pleasure quickly but stay obsessed with challenge. Give a woman everything she wants, and she'll get bored. Because desire doesn't live in comfort, it lives in pursuit. Still not convinced? Let's talk about dread. In the 1970s, anthropologist David Buss did a global study on what keeps relationships alive. His most shocking finding: women were most attracted to men other women desired, and least attracted to men who were too easy to get. This wasn't just cultural, it was universal, from remote tribes to high-powered cities. The moment a man puts a woman above his purpose, she starts losing respect. Freud called this the scarcity principle. Attention is only valuable when it's earned, not freely given. So what should men do? Become cold, manipulative, emotionally distant? No. The real solution is frame control. The men who succeed today don't chase, they pull. They stay grounded in their mission, their values. They know attraction isn't built on logic, it's built on psychology. They understand something simple but powerful. Women say they want a good listener, but they respond to a man who leads. Confidence isn't arrogance, confidence is calm indifference. This leads us to the most powerful secret of all. A Freudian principle so dangerous that modern psychology buried it. We're about to go nuclear. There is a force hiding in the female mind. A trigger so raw, so primal, that once you understand it, you'll stop asking why she picked him over you. This has nothing to do with looks, money, or status. It's about something much deeper, the subconscious surrender response. Freud discovered it in his most controversial work. Modern therapists ignore it, but the men who do know it, they use it like a weapon. Let's talk about a man you've probably never heard of. In 1936, a Hungarian psychoanalyst named Sándor Ferenczi, one of Freud's most extreme protégés, ran an experiment that horrified his colleagues. They begged him to destroy the results. Ferenczi had women listen to two male voices. The first voice was soft, gentle, agreeable. The second was deep, slow, and slightly cold. Guess which one triggered arousal in over 80% of the women? Not the nice guy, not the warm communicator, but the dominant, emotionally reserved voice. Why? Because it created a sense of mystery, of power, of control. This wasn't about abuse, it was about polarity. The energy of opposites, masculine and feminine, dominance and surrender. It's the reason some women fall for men who treat them poorly. Not because they want pain, but because emotional intensity feels like love to the subconscious. And here's the final twist. The men who understand this secret. There were two male voices. One was soft and polite. The other was confident and bold, without saying sorry. The result? 87% of women showed physical signs of attraction to the second voice. But here's the strange part. When asked why, they couldn't explain it. They gave random reasons. Some even lied. One woman even said she hated the dominant voice, but her body was clearly reacting to it. What does this tell us? The female mind doesn't want to be asked. It wants to be claimed. This is not just an opinion, it's proven by science. Modern brain research shows something surprising. A woman's brain doesn't release dopamine, the desire chemical, when she gets what she says she wants. Instead, it releases dopamine when she faces resistance. A 2019 study from UCLA used brain scans. They showed women pictures of kind, smiling men. There was no reaction in the brain's reward system. But when shown pictures of men with serious or disapproving faces, their pleasure center in the brain, called the nucleus accumbens, lit up like a winning slot machine. Freud called this the defiance paradox. It means the more a woman says she doesn't like dominance, the more her brain rewards her for submitting to it. Let's talk about real life now. How many times have you seen a woman reject a nice guy and run back to a guy who treated her badly? How many smart, successful women have you seen obsessed with men who give them nothing but confusion? This isn't low self-esteem. This is instinct. It comes from the harsh reality of human survival. Long ago, weakness meant death. So, women evolved to test the strength of men. If a man broke easily under pressure, he couldn't protect or lead. Every time she pushes you away, every time she picks a fight, she's not being mean, she's checking your strength, she's testing your control, and most men fail without even knowing they're being tested. Now here's where things get deep. In 1951, psychologist Erik Erikson did a study on marriage. That study is now almost hidden from public view. He found that in every long-term relationship, there's always an unspoken power balance. And when the man gives up his strength, when he becomes too emotionally soft, the woman loses respect. Not because she's bad, but because her biology sees his weakness as a threat. One wife said it best, "I begged him to open up and be more vulnerable. But when he finally did, I couldn't look at him the same way anymore." This is the biggest lie in modern dating. Women say they want equality, but their desire needs polarity. They say they want emotional connection, but their attraction grows with emotional distance. Freud's darkest truth: the feminine soul sometimes hates what it asks for. So, what should you do? Should you become cold and manipulative? No. The answer is polarity, the balance between masculine and feminine energy. Men who understand women don't hate them. They don't try to control them either. They lead with strength and invite surrender, not force it. They don't demand respect. They naturally command it through unshakable presence. Let's look at how to use this in your life. 1. The silence strategy. When she tests you, and she will, don't argue, don't explain, don't chase, stay calm and quiet. Freud observed that when a man stays silent, a woman's brain starts filling that silence with emotions. The more you talk, the less she feels. The less you talk, the more she becomes curious. 2. The decisive imperative. Women don't want to make all the decisions, they want you to lead. A 2022 study found that women were more attracted to men who made plans without asking for their input. Why? Because making decisions shows mental strength, and strength is attractive. 3. The reward and consequence method. This isn't manipulation, it's healthy conditioning. When she behaves in a way that matches your standards, give her your attention. When she doesn't, pull back, not as punishment, but as a natural result. Freud's research showed that women value attention only when it comes with boundaries. But this is just the beginning. Here's the final key. The truth that brings all of Freud's work together. Female desire isn't really about her, it's about you. The moment you treat her like a prize, you lose. The moment you start living by your own values, without apology, she starts chasing you. This is the biggest shift, the hidden truth. If you're ready to use this knowledge in your life, type liberate in the comments. Because the truth is, you were never weak. You were just given the wrong instructions. Now go and live with power.